Mohsen Jamal and you watch Afghan News. The top American commander in Afghanistan fired one of his senior officers Friday for making insulting remarks about Afghan President Hamid Karzai. Major General Peter Fuller reacted with frustration when asked about Karzai's recent statement that Afghanistan would side with Pakistan in a war with the United States. Fuller, who was the #2 general in charge of training Afghan forces, made the remarks in the United States, where he was attending a conference in which he also called Karzai erratic and expressed the hope that Afghans would elect someone more articulate in the future. Fuller had planned to return to Afghanistan this weekend. Marine General John R. Allen, who oversees U.S. and NATO forces in the country, said that these unfortunate comments are neither indicative of their current solid relationship with the government of Afghanistan, its leadership, or their joint commitment to prevail here in Afghanistan. Taliban foot soldiers will face Sharia justice if they kill or injure innocent civilians without taking precautions. The fugitive leader of the Afghan insurgency has warned. Mullah Omar, the Taliban's supreme cleric, released an 1,800-word statement that dwelled at length on the need to protect civilians in a sign of the insurgency's growing defensiveness on the issue. The statement, published in 5 languages on Friday to mark the Islamic festival of Eid, described human rights workers as extremely significant, saying the Mujahideen are ordered to take every step to protect the lives and wealth of ordinary people. It also called for investigations by the movement's legal offices of cases where locals say civilians have been hurt by landmines, suicide bombings, or other attacks, suggesting the family of these victims should also be compensated. It also ordered Afghan civilians to protect themselves by not moving in close proximity to Americans who patrol in villages and countryside. At least 3 Taliban insurgents have been killed in a joint operation carried out by Afghan and NATO-led forces in northern Afghanistan, officials said. Officials in 303 Palmer Corps said that the operation was launched last night in Shorcha village of Almar district in Faryab, in which a Taliban shadow deputy governor and 2 others were killed. They added that 1 Afghan policeman was also killed during the operation. During the operation, Afghan and NATO-led forces seized several weapons, but there were no Afghan civilian casualties. Sweden's government and opposition have agreed to start withdrawing the country's troops from Afghanistan next year. Swedish television reported on Friday. Sweden has around 500 troops in Afghanistan based in Mazar-e-Sharif as part of the international security stance force. The country's minority center-right government has agreed with the opposition Social Democrats and Green Party to start cutting the number of troops next year. Swedish television reported if Parliament votes for the measures, then all military personnel will leave by the country by 2014. A spokesman for Sweden's foreign ministry declined to comment on the issue. Pakistan's most troubled foreign relationships have improved in recent months, its top diplomat said on Saturday, pointing to upcoming trade talks with New Delhi and a broad agreement on regional security goals with Washington as evidence. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani Khair, in an interview with Reuters, said negotiations to normalize trade with India would allow progress on other issues between the 2 nuclear-armed South Asian rivals. Trade has long been tied to political issues between the neighbors who have fought 3 wars since independence from Britain in 1947. Khair said relations with the United States were also on the mend, with a complete convergence of stated interests on Afghanistan. The United States and its allies in Afghanistan have been pressing Pakistan for years to tackle the Haqqani network, but Pakistan denies supporting the insurgent network. 49 miners were rescued at the coal mine after being trapped underground for more than 36 hours at a coal mine in central China's Henan province on Saturday. But 45 miners were confirmed alive among the total 49 trapped miners after a rock slide that occurred Thursday evening. The accident happened at around 19:45 local time on Thursday at the Kyanghu coal mine in the city of Sanmenxia. The Henan Administration of Work Safety said in a statement a total of 75 miners were working in this shaft at the time of the accident and 14 of them managed to escape. The administration added a 2.9 magnitude earthquake hit the city at about 1918 Thursday. A rock burst was later reported from the shaft in the coal mine, according to the rescue headquarters. Government forces have killed Alfonso Cano, a top revolutionary armed forces of Colombia commander in combat operations, the country's defense ministry has said. Sources in the ministry say that Cano had been killed on Friday in mountains in the southwest of the country. The death of Cano, 63, who took over leadership of the rebels after their founder died in 2008, would be a strategic victory for President Juan Manuel Santos, who came to office last year, promising to keep up a hardline stance against the rebels. The government had ordered up to $3.7 million for information that would lead to his capture. Cano went from being a middle-class youth in the capital Bogota to the top FARC leader after taking part in peace talks in neighboring Venezuela and Mexico during the 1990s. Several people were killed in a multi-car crash which caused explosions and a fireball on the M5 motorway in the southwest of England, police and media reported. About 27 vehicles, including cars and lorries, were involved in the crash on the motorway near Taunton Friday evening, injuring 35 people, some of them seriously. An unknown number of people died in the crash in fog and wet conditions, while witnesses said they saw a huge fireball and heard loud explosions. The motorway, the main gateway to England's southwest, is likely to remain closed in both directions for some time, police added. Leaders of the world's most powerful economies have agreed to increase the resources of the International Monetary Fund in order to help alleviate the debt crisis that threatens to spread across Europe. Despite these consensus, leaders struggle to reach concrete plans on how to do so, as the G20 summit, which has largely been overshadowed by Eurozone efforts to tackle the Greek debt crisis, concluded in the French resort of Cannes on Friday. Eurozone leaders had hoped to boost the firepower of their bailout fund, the $606 billion European Financial Stability Facility, by seeking financing from outside investors, but cash-rich countries like China, Russia and Brazil quickly made clear that an investment from their side would have to be channeled through the IMF. Finance ministers will now have to work out the details of how to boost the IMF resources, and French President Nicolas Sarkozy said that the G20 would next deal with the topic in February. And that Muslims from the world over were performing Hajj in Mecca, Saudi Arabia on Saturday. Nearly 3 million pilgrims were expected to arrive in Mecca to perform the rite, a duty that all able-bodied Muslims must undertake at least once in their lifetime. Upon arrival to Mecca, visitors perform their Tawaf al-Qudum by circling the sacred cube-shaped Kaaba 7 times, reciting prayers along the way. On Friday, the first official day of the Hajj, all pilgrims started their journey to Mina, where they spent the day worshipping before heading to Arafat, a rocky hill nearby. Pilgrims will later travel to an open plain called Muzdalifah between Arafat and Mina to collect pebbles and throw them at pillars representing Satan on the last day of the pilgrimage, celebrated with the Eid al-Adha holiday on Sunday. That's all for now. Thanks for staying with us.